head skin like leather and the diamond hard look of a cobra.
Folks, thank you for joining us on another episode of The Sitdown, New York City's only organized crime podcast with a guy named Frank, a guy named Mike, and a guy named Matt. Welcome back. How we doing, guys?
Hey,
Very
doing
good.
pretty good.
Now today we're continuing our story about Roy Demeo from the Gambino family, the cold-blooded killer, the earner, the street guy.
He's a good man. He's a good father.
Very good father.
His son talks about him
Yeah.
like he's you think like his son loves him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like
Albert, right? Albert Demeo?
My father didn't kill nobody, but I blocked him on my fucking phone.
Yeah. My dad didn't kill anybody either, and yeah, he's okay.
You know what I mean?
What about your dad? He kill anyone?
No, not to my knowledge.
Pussy.
Yeah, that's what
Your
I'm getting
dad's a
made fun
bitch.
of.
You know,
Yeah.
this is a civilized society, you know, but
Mhm.
like back in the day, people killed people.
Right.
Like I have a friend from Africa, Tanzania.
Mm-hmm.
He killed people before he got here.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was part of his life.
Right.
He was very respectful though. He
And
said,
it's like, come on, if you get murdered by somebody else, what are you doing?
yeah.
You know?
I mean, nobody gets killed. Once
What
in a
did
while,
your friend from
Yeah.
Tanzania kill people for?
Yeah, what was the situation?
He didn't go into it, but he told me that one time he killed a guy and he respected his family, so he brought the kid to the porch and rang the bell, and like left the dead body on the porch so they could have a funeral.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I thought that was very nice of him.
Yeah. Because then you got to go find the body. You got to put it in your car. You got to mess your car up. It's going to leak everywhere.
See, in wise guy circles, you got to do something really fucking shitty
Mm-hmm.
for them to not let you have an open casket. If they shoot you in the face or something or get rid of you,
Mm-hmm.
you must have really
yeah,
fucked up.
it's sending
Okay.
a message, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
So is that what happened to Tommy DeSimone?
Well, he was a psycho. He was a fucking cowboy.
But he got shot in the head, right?
He got
Shot in the face?
beaten into and then they fucking buried him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you watch Goodfellas yet?
No,
Jesus Christ, Matt.
I know.
Anyway.
Sorry, fans.
Where did we last leave off? Well, the Demeo crew, they're doing pretty good in Brooklyn. They're operating out of the Gemini Lounge in
It's Flatbush.
sometimes I forget
Flatbush.
in Flatbush.
Yeah.
Now,
It's basically Coney Island, right?
No,
It's getting out there, though.
Jesus.
it's nowhere near Coney Island.
it's basically
Wait,
Westchester. Yeah.
What kind of who
What
got-
avenue?
Because,
is
Frank,
it?
he's good with computers.
He thinks Coney Island's on Flatlands Avenue.
It's like
Yeah, I
Avenue
know.
Q or
Holy
something, right?
shit. I
That's
don't really.
It's not great.
I don't
It's
come
not
down-
ideal.
I don't come down on him because I really like him personally. But Jesus
Uh-huh.
Christ, come on.
Yeah.
Geography a little bit. You live in the city.
Google Maps. That's
You-
like a
you-
4-hour
you-
drive.
You live here.
He's from
you know
Queens,
what it is?
though.
I don't want to yell at him because he deals with enough at home.
Uh-huh.
You know, so I don't want
Yeah, you
to.
should.
Yeah, Oh man, it's like it is out there though. It's like Avenue M or Q or something. J.
It's
Brooklyn's
flat.
big.
It's the flatland section of Brooklyn.
It's like Midwood, isn't it?
It's near
Or-
Midwood.
or
Holy shit.
Sheephead Bay, isn't
It's
it?
nowhere near
Matt,
Sheepshead
why
Bay.
don't you play
All
around
right.
with the levels or something?
Sorry,
Whatever your people do.
Let me turn down my levels
If
here.
this keeps up, he's not getting a microphone next week.
Yeah.
No, I like you a lot.
Who are we going to replace him with, though? That's the thing. Because it's not like there's somebody who knows about this stuff who can work a computer.
No, I like Matt.
We could
He's my friend.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
We could probably figure it out, this stuff, right? Can't be that hard.
I can't do it.
Bunch of Italians.
I had to do my goddamn taxes yesterday to figure out my expenses for my write-offs, and I wanted to kill myself. I
Why
had
don't you
to
go
like,
to H&R Block?
because my parents have a guy that they use, so I use their guy, but I haven't filed yet, so I don't know. I got to get my own guy. You like H&R Block?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, right.
can't
we
you
won't
turbo
get into that. We won't get into that. Hey.
That's so funny. Why don't you like
Anyway.
TurboTax? Isn't that super easy?
That's where you
now?
do it yourself?
Yeah.
Because my parents have a guy they've been going to forever, so I just use him. But then, like,
The computers have replaced
he
that
files
guy.
it wrong. Yeah, he like files it wrong. He's like an old guy from Jersey. But then, I don't know how to, like, I give my papers to my dad, and he loses them. So, I'm 30 years old. I started paying my own cell phone bill this year, and I got to get my own
good for
my own
you.
tax guy.
Good for you.
Mike, you have any?
It's tough when you're what?
Do you have tattoos?
No.
Oh.
Do you?
Yeah, of course.
Where?
I don't
I
either.
got one on my leg. I got one on my arm.
Of what?
What are they?
Jesus
Mm,
and a chick.
that's good.
I'm gonna get more though. I'm getting another one soon.
It's actually one tattoo. It's just Jesus with a vagina.
no, it's Jesus.
It's trans Jesus.
In loving memory of Poppy, my
Uh-huh.
grandfather.
Uh-huh.
And then this is a chick from the 80s.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
She's got some nice cans.
Where's your next tattoo going, Frank?
This arm.
Okay.
Might be a scorpion.
Okay.
All right, so where do we leave the DeMeo crew? So Chris Rosenberg, right? Chris Rosenberg was the first member of Roy DeMeo's crew when they first started.
Yeah, he brought in
doing
everybody.
stuff.
He brought in Anthony and Joey.
Anthony Center.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Joey who?
Joey Testa.
Joey Testa. No, there's a no. Salvi Testa was in Philly.
Joey. There was Patty Testa, Michael Testa, and Joey Testa.
Mm.
They had a car. Patty Testa had a car lot. I bought a car from him in the late '80s.
Yeah. So Chris Rosenberg, he was kind of like, I mean, Roy DeMeo discovered him when he was like a young kid. He was an up and comer. He met him at a gas station when he was selling weed.
Oh,
right.
Yeah, I guess he was a car thief.
God forbid you do a little bit of fucking research.
I don't need. I know.
I'm the only one who researches anything.
I'm from the neighborhood these people are from.
I know, but we got to get on the same page when we do this fucking show.
You read about it, and I'll tell you what happened.
But you don't know stuff.
I know a lot.
Matt doesn't read. He didn't read my one sheet.
Matt never even seen The Sopranos until like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I know.
I'm trying.
So we got a Minnesota fucking boy talking about Italians. This is fucking ridiculous.
Find an Italian.
Do me a favor.
Yeah.
Next week, we're going to talk about the Vietnamese gangs, and I'm going to fucking come in here like I know what the fuck I'm talking about.
So Chris Rosenberg was DeMeo's associate. Now Roy DeMeo really liked Chris Rosenberg. He kind of thought of him as like a son almost.
Yeah.
And so Chris Rosenberg would even call himself Chris DeMeo because he wanted to be Italian.
Right.
Everybody wants to be Italian though.
Especially then.
Yeah.
In Brooklyn and back then, Italians were the coolest people.
Right.
Yeah.
We still are.
I think so.
Good food. Good culture.
Black people are probably cooler.
Black people are a lot like Italians.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
right.
Italians and blacks.
Why do they not like each other then?
They like each other.
Well,
I think we like each other now. I think it's gotten to a point where we like each other.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more happy to see black people than white people. I tell you the truth. I'm more happy to see black people in the audience at a comedy show than fucking all white people.
Well, yeah. Say no. Yeah.
Oh.
Sure.
Say that twice. Yeah, where we left off last episode, Chris Rosenberg does a deal with these Cubans. There was a drug lord named El Negro, and these two Cubans come from Miami to sell Chris Rosenberg a kilo, and instead of paying for the drugs, he murders both of them. Yeah. Good move. Nice job, Chris Rosenberg. Nothing bad's gonna come out of that. Why do you think he did that?
Because probably he was drunk with power. This big guy was like, he had his flag planted with this big guy.
With Roy?
Yeah, he figured, what am I doing? Killing a couple of fucking greaseballs?
Yeah.
He probably didn't think there was nothing involved.
Yeah.
But, some of these gangs that aren't Italian have fucking
He probably
power.
thought they just regenerate or something.
Well, they were Cubans, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're very powerful people. And then Cubans in Miami are just like the Italians here.
Yeah.
What a short-sighted deal,
Yeah, like what did he think was going to happen?
Poke a beehive like that?
Sometimes people don't think.
Mm-hmm.
He was probably hopped up. I don't know if he was high or whatever.
What if he had a boner?
He probably thought Roy
What?
Well,
What are you talking about?
He just got hard, just killing all those people.
Oh, he got hard and you didn't know how to deal with it?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
It's just how he did it.
Yeah, who knows? Anyway. So this is bad. This is really bad for the Gambino family because the Cubans they wanted to go to war. Or they would have gone. They would have gone to war.
Castellano did not like fucking Roy DeMeo anyway.
Right.
He was looking for a reason to fucking, just wipe him out.
So let's take that back a little bit because in 1976, Carlo Gambino passed away. Paul Castellano became his successor. Now, I was reading about Castellano, and it does seem like he's an interesting figure because he's not a street guy. Castellano was a guy who sort of fancied himself. He saw himself as a businessman, but it's like if you were smart, you would be a legitimate business person.
You know why Mike likes Paul Castellano? Because he's like the Paul Castellano of Italian comedians.
I didn't say I liked him. You're a fucking
You're
idiot.
obsessed with Paul Castellano.
I'm not obsessed with him. I just think he's an interesting guy.
This is why
you are a fucking moron.
This is why he
Let
likes
me tell
Paul.
you something.
Let me tell you why you like Paul Castellano.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because you come from a good neighborhood.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you had a built-in pool in your house, right?
I had a built-in pool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and Mike tries to pass himself off as like a badly educated Italian from a bad neighborhood.
You're like a fucking fake tough guy who like, oh, let's do an episode on this guy. He stabbed the guy with an ice pick and he couldn't read. you like.
Oh my god.
First of all, I never said I liked Paul Castellano.
Ever since I got here, you haven't shut up about Paul Castellano since I walked in the door. He loves this guy.
You're a fucking cunt.
It says here he's the Howard Hughes of the mob.
You're the Howard Hughes of comedy.
Big Paulie.
Oh, I really love talking about Roy Demeo, a guy who fucking stabbed 100 people to death. There's
Roy
a lot
DeMeo
of-
was an enterprising
there's
fucking
a great
guy.
story
He was
there.
enterprising.
Oh, let's talk about Roy DeMeo. He killed people with a baseball bat.
He came from nothing and he became a multimillionaire.
He didn't come from nothing.
He came from nothing.
He was pretty comfortable.
He was a working class kid.
Yeah, but if you're intelligent, you don't have to kill fucking 200 people.
He didn't do it himself.
His crew killed a lot of
Well,
people.
there was
though.
a
Yeah,
lot
they
of-
did.
Allegedly.
First of all, I never said I
We
liked.
all know.
I never said I liked Paul Castellano. I think the dynamic between him and DeMeo is
Hey
interesting.
Matt, take note. No, we're gonna do the next episode. We're gonna do about the guy who invented Apple computers. What's that guy's
Steve
name?
Jobs.
Yeah,
Jobs.
Mike wants to talk about that guy next. The sit down.
But he really is just like a dumb piece of shit. Like I thought this would be interesting, but he's just like a guy who like doesn't understand anything past like beating and killing people.
I like.
You're a caveman.
I like the street guys. I have more respect for the
You're
street
autistic.
guys. You know, no,
I
I'm
have
not.
respect for-
No, it makes sense because I'm a fucking working class guy, and I'm a stand up comic. I'm not a bureaucrat.
Yeah,
Paul Castellano was a fucking bureaucrat. I don't identify with bureaucrats.
I'm a stand-up comic. I go up there and I say, "Hey, what does your pussy smell like?"
I don't say it like that. There's a lot of that's part of it.
Yeah,
Paul Castellano died of multiple gunshot
died of
wounds.
multiple gunshot wounds.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
he was a fucking piece of shit. He wouldn't fucking spread the wealth.
yeah, he sure was.
Jesus Christ.
I don't mean to shit on your
He died at 70. He
I don't
was
mean
an
to
old
shit on
man.
Mike's idol.
Shut the fuck up.
Why? I mean,
God forbid we fucking tell a story with some relationships and some conflict.
Yeah.
Here, why don't you do the show? What do you want to say about Roy DeMeo?
I have
Your hero.
He was a great dad. He came from Brooklyn. He started off as a delivery boy,
Right.
And he rose.
But if he was
became-
smart, he wouldn't have to fucking murder 400 people.
You ever see the house he bought in Massapequa? It was
no.
a fucking mansion.
Wow, cool.
Whatever.
Castellano had a mansion too.
Yeah, because he inherited it
You're
by
such a
marrying.
dumb- you're
he
such a
married.
dumb
he married
piece of
into the
shit.
he married into the business. Why don't you marry Amy Schumer?
I would
Hey.
love to.
hey, it seems like you guys are just like putting mobsters up against each other, and it's kind
No, I
of
fucking-
funny for
Mike
you guys to
doesn't like it.
argue.
But
Which-
first of all, I never said I liked Paul Castellano.
He doesn't
Yeah,
like
y-
it.
well,
He
first-
doesn't
yeah.
like it when he gets his balls broken. He doesn't.
No,
like it.
you're like
He
being
breaks my
like,
balls
oh,
every-
you want to suck
No,
Paul
because
Castellano's
the
dick.
problem is you're here because you're not here because you're an intelligent person. You're here because you say fucked up shit and you know about this
That's
stuff.
not why I'm here.
But don't you think it's an interesting dynamic between Castellano and DeMeo?
Yeah, Castellano's a fucking scumbag. He doesn't respect his workers. He's like the CEO of
Thank
a
you.
corporation.
Thank you.
You like that.
Did I ever say that I like the guy?
You were saying how you think you're fascinated with this fucking piece
I
of
said
shit.
he's fascinating. I
He's
didn't
not
say
fascinating.
he
He's a
was,
fucking asshole. He married somebody's daughter, and that's how he got in the bit. I don't like people.
I
who
never said he was. I never said the guy wasn't an asshole.
I knew a guy who married a guy's daughter, and all of a sudden,
Did
he
I ever say the
all of a
guy
sudden
wasn't an asshole?
everybody had to pay tax to this fucking guy. I'm like, why? Because he married what's his name's daughter? Fuck that. He's a fuck. I hate that shit.
Yeah. Well,
But-
you're right, Frank. He's my hero. I model my life after Paul Castellano.
Oh, you're so- you're so-
Nina
I model my
Mano?
life
You
after
know
a
what you are?
fucking
You know what you are?
60-year-old.
You're a sensitive asshole. That's what you are.
Jesus Christ. He married Nina Mano.
But you're
Is
full
that
of
right?
shit because what?
He married Nina. Does that make sense? He married into the family through Nina. Is that what
That
you're
was
saying?
Carlo
Married,
Gambino's
it's
sister.
Carlo Gambino's sister.
Okay.
Why don't I just go out right now? I don't even know who the boss is of anybody. I'll go marry the guy who just got out. Who's the guy who just got out? Marry his daughter, and then I'll be a fucking captain, and all the kids in Staten Island could pay me tax because I'm a fucking took the easy way into the fucking mob. Fuck out of here. I'd rather make my bones, kill people at 15 years old in Howard Beach like a good kid. You know what I mean? You start doing hits for Gotti at 15, then he takes you out to Lenny's Clam Bar. You know what I mean? You got to do it the right way.
Folks, if you're just joining us, this is the Paul Castellano episode of the Sit Down.
We're never doing an episode
Actually,
about him.
this is
I'll
the-
quit the podcast.
Fuck you.
If you ever do a fucking episode about Paul Castellano, I'll walk off the show.
Welcome back to the Paul Castellano Show, everybody. I'm your host, Mike Recine. Welcome to the Sit Down, a show.
Yeah, like,
The
oh,
only-
let me get a
shut your
penile.
fucking
Let
mouth.
me get a penile implant so I can fuck my Mexican.
What?
Well, spoiler alert, this piece of shit.
He couldn't get a fucking erection because he was 90 and overweight, eating too much mozzarella and prosciutto, whatever the fuck he eats.
Prosciutto.
So then he fucking goes, I'm gonna get an implant because I want to fuck my maid.
Frank's a difficult guy to work with.
No,
we were
I'm
going to
not.
get to that in a second. Frank, this is the Paul Castellano Show now, okay?
Whatever
So we
you
got to
wanna do.
space this
I
out.
don't endorse this shit.
The Sit Down, a show about Paul Castellano. All right, so anyway, let's start from the beginning. Paul Castellano was born. Where's this Wikipedia page, huh? Do you know where the name Paul comes from? Let's start from the very beginning. It comes
apostle.
from the Bible. All right. Anyway, where the hell was I? Now, here's why I think he's an interesting person. Because in 1975, Castellano ordered the murder of Vito Borelli, his daughter's boyfriend, because Borelli compared him to Frank Perdue. So that's the kind of guy that he is. He's insecure. Somebody goes, hey, you look like Frank Perdue, and he has him killed.
That's nothing. I know a guy who said, what's up, buddy, to a captain on Rikers Island, and when he got out of jail, he got shot in the face.
Yeah, that's not cool.
Because of Buddy?
Yeah.
Buddy's a put down?
He called the fucking captain buddy.
Well, I think that 90% of language
Yeah, but
is
to
body
kill somebody
language.
like that means you're like a fake tough. That's a little insecure.
Well, it happens a lot.
Yeah. So a lot of these guys, they're not tough guys. They're pussies.
They don't like to be. You can't disrespect the boss. It makes you look weak.
So you think he was justified in killing this guy for saying he looks like Frank Perdue?
Well, the guy, yeah. Yeah.
Are you going to kill me for disrespecting you because you're the boss of this podcast?
I'm not the boss of the podcast. I'm a
He's
fucking.
I'm the CEO of the Sitdown podcast.
I tell people all the time. I'm like, this is not my podcast. It's Mike Recine's podcast. I'm just on it.
My underling. Yeah, you're
No,
damn right.
That's
You better
fine.
be telling people that.
So when it tanks, I
I'm
don't
the
have
genius.
to get blamed for it.
Fuck you. Yeah, you will get blamed for it though. You dumb fuck. Anyway,
You know what I
Yeah,
am? I'm like the Laka Gravis of the fucking podcast. Remember when Laka was on Taxi? He was like a little part, but he ended up.
When did Taxi come out?
he ended up stealing the whole show.
That's right, baby. I'm the Laka of the show.
Taxi came out in like 1986, right?
No, 78.
Matt, I'm gonna need you to whack Frank for disrespecting the boss. I'm the boss of this podcast.
I'm not a DeMeo.
And if you wanna,
I'm like a
if
calculator.
you wanna have my
mobster.
loyalty, if you wanna,
You know what you're like?
You're gonna have to kill him.
You're like a bookkeeper. Bookkeepers never get in any trouble.
Yeah.
They're involved with the mob, but they have, usually it's an old lady that does.
Matt, next time you come to the show, we want you wearing a dress and
A house dress.
yeah, we want you dressed up like an old lady.
I'll put on my Mrs. Doubtfire.
Put on the dress.
Oh, hello.
Put on the dress that you wear when you clean up when you're home with your girl when she tells you to clean.
Oh, hello, Frank.
Right after she pegs him. Nothing, Frank.
What does
I'm
she
not
do?
gonna
That?
laugh at that. I would have liked to, but it was about me.
Matt, are you afraid of your girlfriend?
No,
You must be a little bit.
this is like when he was like negging you earlier for making you feel like bad about liking Paul Castellano.
Yeah, I know.
I don't.
He
I
nags
don't
other people, but the person he's nagging the most is himself.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you're a fake gangster.
I'm not. I don't claim to be a gangster. I'm not in that life at all. I never was.
I did do a little bit.
I love Shelby. You know.
All right, good for you.
Yeah, she is a little overbearing though.
Well,
Anyway,
Matt is a beta male.
right. So Castellano identified more of a businessman. Remember, this is the Paul Castellano show. Anyway, so here was a guy who's like, I'm more of a businessman than a hoodlum, but it's not. But he never would have succeeded in business if he didn't use his goons. So that's what I think is interesting, is he needed people like Roy DeMeo to do his dirty work, and because if he didn't, he wouldn't be smart enough to succeed in business. That's what I think.
He inherited the Gambino crime family from Carlo, so it was already a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
And
Right.
He was on his way to fucking it
And
up.
he was just kind of handed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was a fucking pussy.
I look at Roy DeMeo as like a contractor. You know, he's like a drywall specialist that you would bring in for like a big job.
Yeah.
You know, and you'd pay him accordingly. Like
Castellano's like the guy who works for Google that makes him
right. Yeah. He's Steve Jobs.
That like has a juice machine in his house.
Right.
Yeah.
Roy DeMeo could have one if he wanted, but it would,
Paul
But that's the
Castellano
other thing.
Paul Castellano's like these fucking cunt bookers in the fucking comedy scene.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they don't know shit about comedy. But fucking Roy DeMeo is like a really good comic.
Who are these
Right.
cunt bookers?
Roy DeMeo was a killer.
Do you know the booker of Kimmel's a 23-year-old girl?
Well, maybe
Because when you think comedy, of course you go to 23-year-old girls because
Right.
they know what funny is.
You know who should be booking Kimmel? A 60-year-old man.
I'm not 60.
They should just find. I'm not saying you, just somebody. Jesus Christ.
he's just making sure.
You know who should be booking Kimmel?
Me.
My friend Freddie the
No.
Freddie the gooch.
A 39-year-old
Yeah.
Asian woman. That's
That
who
Books
should be.
Kimmel?
That would be
Yeah.
better than a 23-year-old white girl.
To me, it's just like a random number and
nobody
a
has a
random
less sense of humor.
ethnicity.
Nobody has less of a sense
No,
of humor.
you're right about that.
Than a young white girl.
Yeah.
Young white girls should just not like say
Oh,
anything.
I did a show in this weekend in Wilmington, and there was a 21-year-old girl. She ruined the whole show.
I can
I
imagine.
turned the whole crowd against her, though. It was
Good.
fun. That's what I do now.
Yeah,
I'm
could you tell that
I
story?
heard you did that
What's
in
that?
Williamsburg.
In Williamsburg?
I heard you had a fight with a girl in Williamsburg a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, it was great.
People always come to me with your stories.
Really?
They think I'm your brother or something. Like, oh, did you hear about what Mike Recine did? I'm not his keeper.
They go. Did you hear what Mike Recine did? The man who's responsible for your whole career.
Yeah, it's going really well. Thanks for the help.
Frank, I legitimized you.
I've been legitimate. I've been.
All right. Anyway,
the fuck out of here.
But here's
you're not
another
the only
thing.
person who thinks I'm funny.
I know. Another thing Castellano did was he had a house. We're almost done with this, but he had a house, a 17-room mansion that resembled the White House. Do you think that was a thing? Maybe he didn't want to be a gangster?
He was. He was the Don of the biggest crime family in the world. He can't not be a gangster.
But it does seem like a lot of these guys, they want the approval of like mainstream people. It's like when that Sopranos episode when Tony was playing golf with the doctors and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe these guys want to be seen as like legitimate. They want to socialize with like the elites and stuff like
Well,
that.
they used to in the 40s and 50s. Frank Costello, they used to call him the prime minister. He had like dukes over his house.
Mm-hmm.
So it was different then.
Yeah.
They thought it was.
Frank Costello did?
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
Bugsy Siegel hung out with princesses and shit.
Right.
Like they thought it was cool to have somebody around who was in that life. Plus, Bugsy Siegel was a good-looking guy.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're
But
saying
did the elites like respect these guys?
I think they just thought it was cool to have a tough guy around.
Yeah.
I don't know if they respected him. They were like afraid of him.
Right. Well, then the other story that Frank spoiled was that Castellano was having sex with his maid, and on an FBI tape, there's a recording of him saying that he'll get penile implants to fix his impotence.
How is that going to fix it? It comes from
I know.
It comes from the blood.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe you could Kegel every day.
You know what I do when I'm going back to my house with a girl?
Yeah.
I eat a bar of Dove dark chocolate,
Mm-hmm.
and I get a fucking raging hard on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, fuck out Viagra, just Dove chocolate, baby.
What about Dove chocolate?
Dark chocolate's
It's got
an aphrodisiac.
It's got
Oh, it is?
antioxidants.
Mm-hmm.
Also cashew nuts.
Have you ever had impotence?
No.
Really?
Well, maybe once when I was drunk, or maybe a couple.
Nobody in this
Wow.
room ever had impotence. It's psychological.
Yeah.
It's nerves.
We're young men.
Exactly. Never happened to me. So anyway, folks, where were we?
It's a compliment to the girl. You know why? Because that means you care about her. 'Cause if
Right.
you didn't care about her, you would have came in the face on the way home.
Right. Exactly.
Right. Exactly.
That's what I say.
Yeah.
I
Why
go,
wait
"No,
till you
it's
get to the
'cause-
house?
No, it's because you're too beautiful. That's why I'm.
That's-
That's why I'm semi-soft over here. Anyway,
It's
this
a
fucking
compliment,
machine.
baby.
I remember.
You know what
when
else
my
is a
father gave
compliment?
me
When you
that
come
advice.
fast.
Is it?
Yeah. You show me a guy who lasts a long time in bed, I'll
Mhm.
show you a guy who's sick of your pussy.
Jesus Christ.
Sick of your pussy. That's the name of this episode.
I have a joke called sick of your pussy.
I got to tell you, you really are like a wild card.
What are you talking about?
You never know where you're gonna go.
Well, what do you want me to be predictable?
When not entertaining guests, Castellano wore satin and silk dressing gowns and velvet slippers around his house. So this guy was a soft person. That's the kind of boss that he was. He was not a street guy, and the street guys did not respect him. He overtaxed them, but he always needed Demeo to do his dirty work. Now, this situation with the Cubans was pretty bad. So the Cubans demand that they want Rosenberg dead, or they're going to start a war.
Yep.
So then what happened?
Roy killed Chris Demeo.
Yep. He felt bad about it too, right?
He shot him, and then he couldn't continue doing it, and Anthony
Senta shot him
finished it.
4 times in the head.
Just like Manny and Scarface. Remember Manny?
Jeez.
I'm not going to shoot you. Manolo, shoot this piece of shit.
Yeah.
That's a great name for a kid, Manolo.
Manolo. That was the great Robert Loggia that played Frank.
Yeah, he was so good in that movie.
Yeah.
He was good on The
He's
Sopranos,
good in it.
though.
Great on The Sopranos. Yeah. Very warm.
Yeah.
Warm and friendly. Feach Lamana. Go
Feach
home.
Lamana. They planted the TVs in his garage.
Yeah, I'm just having my wine and peaches. He was such a
You know who was
typical,
great on
like,
The
old
Sopranos?
Italian
Burt
guy.
Young. Remember when Burt Young was on The Sopranos?
No, who did he play?
He had like asthma and he wanted to do.
Yes, yeah. He played Bobby's father.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
It's surreal how you can watch that. And,
What season are you on?
Season 1 still,
boy.
but it's surreal how you can see a scene and like
I could watch. I could watch.
everybody's dead.
Mhm.
I could watch the entire season in a week. I mean, the entire series.
You
So
bragging?
DeMeo was really so. I guess I don't know. I guess DeMeo did have some like connections with people, or he felt for people because he was really depressed after he killed Rosenberg. He didn't leave his house for like 2 days or something.
Yeah.
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 Sometimes you got to do fucked up shit.
I get sad when my dog died. I didn't want to come out for a week, and I didn't even do that.
You didn't have to kill him.
No,
Oh.
not with a gun. Back of the head.
I know comics that don't come out after they bomb.
Yeah, that's insane.
I never do that.
Yeah, you got to get back on the horse, baby.
Right away.
Yeah,
Even
right away.
That day.
So he kills Chris Rosenberg. That was now the Cubans wanted to make sure it was his body would be found, so they put it on some highway. I forget. I didn't write down the name of the highway, but they put Rosenberg's body in a car and shot it with a machine gun, and they made a big display of it, so then everybody knew. And they avoided war with the Cubans. You don't want war with those Cubans. I'll tell you that much, right?
Right.
Yeah,
You're probably not afraid of them, but
I don't give a shit about Cubans, Italians. I used to stand up to fucking wise guys when they used to tell me to keep my mouth shut.
Yeah.
We talked about
who
this
are
before.
you afraid of?
Nobody.
What about the Albanians?
I'm not afraid of them either.
No?
They're fucking crazy. They're in the Bronx.
What
Are
about
they?
magma
Yeah.
people?
Yeah.
They're sneaking into Italy. They're like the Mexicans of Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They all the pizzerias are mostly Albanians
Really
in New York. All the bad ones,
interesting.
and they think they're Italian. They're like, I'm Albanese. I'm like, there's no such thing as Albanese.
Albanese.
They're like, I'm Albanese. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. You're a fucking migrant.
Yeah. Well, Roy DeMeo's problems were not over after he killed Chris Rosenberg, because here's where things get pretty bad. He becomes super paranoid, and he won't leave his house. He's convinced that the Cubans want him dead. And unfortunately, there's an 18-year-old kid selling vacuum cleaners in his neighborhood, and DeMeo thinks that this kid is an assassin. I guess apparently a Cuban vacuum salesman looks just like a Cuban assassin.
That was a fucking interesting scenario when they chased the kid down and he was getting paranoid, man. He was coming
Yeah.
apart. This is really the
Him
beginning.
and his cousin or his brother-in-law.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
like the beginning of the end of Roy
Beginning of the
DeMeo.
end. Yeah.
Too bad.
Yeah, so this poor kid, he's an 18-year-old kid. He's going door to door selling vacuum cleaners. He's sitting in his car, and DeMeo and his cousin come out with shotguns, and they start chasing him. And they chase him like through half of Long Island till he finally crashes his car, and they just pump a bunch of bullets into him. And
This
kid's
is
dead.
very common. Back in the day, how many people got killed and they're like, oh, that wasn't the one we were supposed to kill?
Really?
That used to happen a lot.
Yeah.
So many fucking people in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah. It's funny that you idolize these guys who are a bunch
I
of
don't
murderers.
idolize them. I'm just saying I like them better than I like the cops. I think at least these guys don't pretend to be anything other than what they are. Cops are the biggest fucking scumbags.
At least the cops have integrity.
They have no integrity. The fuck out of here.
I love cops. Yeah. So that was bad. So Nino Gaggi, who was DeMeo's his like mentor, he knew that was bad. So he was furious. But yeah, I mean, did that happen a lot? Innocent people getting killed?
I mean, my buddy got killed just because he was sitting shotgun with a guy.
Yeah,
Really?
the one that hung out with his friend post prison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know another guy who was playing video games with a guy that was about to be whacked, and he got a young kid, teenager, got shot up because he just happened to be there.
That sucks. You think you're gonna play video games and somebody just storms in and kills everybody?
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting to think, like, we like to think that the mob is good, but in reality,
There's good
The
things.
mob
they're
is
bad.
bad.
They're
No,
bad. They're
there's
not
good-
good.
no,
They
they're
kill innocent
bad.
people.
There's good things about them and there's bad things about them. What are you gonna do?
Mm-hmm. What are the good things? Order.
They
Cleanliness.
kept the neighborhood nice.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
They look up for their own.
they look out for their own.
All right. So, so this kid gets murdered, and Nino Gaggi is not happy. Now, here's an example of Paul Castellano when he wanted DeMeo to do his dirty work. There was these two guys, Joe Ippolito, and
The cops?
yeah,
Yeah.
Joe Ippolito and his son.
Oh, you mean the mafia cops? Oh, is that who
No,
you're talking
Lou
about?
Ippolito was the mafia
Right,
cop.
right.
But then he had a cousin, Joe Ippolito, who Castellano wanted gone.
Oh, he was
So,
a wise guy.
Yeah, so Demeo kills him and his son in a car, but that killing was witnessed by two guys by an off-duty cop, and then he goes and sort of chases them down, and it ends in a shootout, and the cop gets shot, doesn't die, and then I think Demeo got shot too. So yeah, they start investigating the Demeo crew in 1982. It was headed by a prosecutor named Walter Mack, who was a very good prosecutor, really great guy, my hero. Really dedicated
Mike likes
to law and order.
These are Mike's
I
heroes.
love cops.
Mike likes oppressive bosses. He likes the FBI, and he likes gay comics who are overrated.
Yep. I sure do. So they start investigating.
You've been
Demeo's-
saying a lot of liberal shit on Facebook. You fucking sell out.
Really? Like
Yeah.
what?
You said something negative about Columbus last week.
No, I didn't. I didn't say anything about negative about Columbus.
Yeah, you said he was a rapist.
He was.
So what? It's 1492. It was common. Wasn't even illegal.
Right.
I don't think you can judge people from back then.
Mm-hmm.
You could still make a joke about it, though, right?
I think you can. I think they had debates over whether it was okay to enslave like natives,
Well, the statue is still up, and Italians are not going
and it ain't going fucking anywhere.
I saw some
baby.
lady yesterday. She had a shirt on. It said, "This Italian American celebrates Indigenous People Day." I was like, "That's because you hate your father,
You hate yourself, yeah.
stupid bitch."
Indigenous people.
Jesus Christ.
Indigenous people.
You think
All right.
that's great.
Why you got to change stuff?
I don't know. I think you're ignorant.
No, I'm not. I just like Columbus.
You do?
It's a celebration of all Italian Americans.
But
that
he
day.
did commit a genocide, though.
No, he did not.
Yes, he
Was
did.
he
wiped
Italian?
out like 50,000
Yeah,
natives.
yeah, but as soon as
he
people,
killed like 250.
yeah, but
1,000
people
people
leave
or
a lot out of that story.
Mm-hmm.
When
They were bothering him.
no, when white people came here, all of a sudden arrows started flying at them. So what are you going to do? Let them do that? You got to fight back. It was
Yeah.
self-defense.
Yeah, you get some blankets up.
I
Give it
don't-
to them.
The
Make sure
Indians,
they get
the
sick.
Indians were fucking savages. Let's get that straight. Everybody talks about them like they were. What do you think? They were like, oh, we have visitors. Come and have some fucking whatever they eat. What do they eat? I don't even know. And they didn't do that. They
Maize?
just started shooting arrows.
No, Columbus wrote in his diary that actually the natives were very like friendly and submissive, and they were easy to enslave.
No,
Yes, he did.
I don't believe it.
Okay, well, then I guess it's true. I guess it's not true.
And
Anyway,
Christopher Columbus
You
was
got
a
to read
great
Frank's
man.
Journal to get the truth.
Christopher Columbus discovered the world.
Hmm.
No, he wasn't. He was fucking Italian.
no, he might have been a. All right.
Christopher Columbus
There's always
was
new
a
shit
Jew?
popping up. I'm not jumping on board with this shit.
So anyway, a bunch of people start investigating Demeo Crew. A bunch of really smart, upstanding, just great guys who work for the state. They start investigating these murderers, and they realized some really heinous acts had gone unpunished. I mean, these guys killed a lot of people.
Yeah.
But they all deserved it.
I'm not saying they deserved it, but they were just trying to create order.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. Right. Sometimes you gotta break some eggs to make an omelet.
If murder wasn't illegal, I probably would have killed a few people by now.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. I actually know. I'm a good boy.
People get on my nerves.
Who would you have killed?
Well, I wrote a song in the '80s, and this Puerto Rican stole it from me,
Uh-huh.
and I almost had him killed by a black hitman, but then
Oh.
I backed out of it. It would have only cost me $500.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah.
But
And that's enough time to record that song in the studio.
But I feel like assassinations, you kind of get what you pay for.
And you know, there's somebody got on my nerves last year that I would have killed if I could.
Uh-huh.
Currently, I'm not mad at anybody.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's how you got to live your life. You can't hold on to anger, folks.
$500 back in the day. I bet that was a deal.
No, that was a bad deal. That was not a professional.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. It depends how important the person is. Like if you want somebody rubbed out that's an important person, then it could go up to like 20 grand. But if it's just some schmuck, then it's like 1,000.
Mm.
Who's Victor Arena?
He's a wise guy.
Yeah, and
Lucchese.
what did he do? No, he was the one who contacted the FBI,
Oh yeah.
right?
There's a lot of arenas.
So Vic Arena contacted Vito Arena. Vito Arena contacted the FBI and said that he wanted to be an informant, that he had information. And he ended up giving the authorities a lot of information on the Demeo crew and their murders and stuff like that. And one thing he said was that the head was the easiest thing to remove from a body.
See, this is
He said it just snaps off like a pencil.
now a guy like that deserves to go.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Fucking ratting on his friends.
Right. And he's doing the murders.
Right.
So I guess he just, I don't even think he was caught or anything. He called up the FBI.
Yeah.
He just had him on speed dial.
What a dick.
What a piece of shit. He was a homosexual, I think, too.
Is that who they? That's who they based.
Vito on
Yeah,
from
that's what they based
Sopranos. Yeah.
That was the worst scene on The Sopranos. There was a lot of when a show goes on for years, there's always going to be bad parts.
Yeah.
But the one time they showed a gay scene,
Yeah.
he's wearing like a leather hat. Like, what is this? 19? No, like if I was a gay person, I would have been so pissed off at that.
Really?
They don't act like that. They don't wear leather hats.
Right.
It was like he was at a costume party.
Yeah.
Right.
They didn't give a shit. It's like set deck.
He's going to a gay bar. Okay, put an outfit on from 1975.
Yeah.
So this guy goes to make a deal with Roy Demeo. They knew he was involved in a lot of murders, and so he wants to make a deal, this cop. And then DeMeo offers the guy $1 million cash. He goes, we'll put it in your wife's name. Just give us the routing number or whatever. Offers the cop $1 million to leave him alone. Which is like, is that an effective way of getting somebody off your back?
Money?
Well, no, you pay one cop $1 million.
I guess it worked, right?
No, the guy didn't take it.
Oh.
The guy didn't take it, but then DeMeo said, listen, I'm in the mob. I'm a soldier. When it's time to go, I'll go down like a good soldier. So I guess that is one of his redeeming qualities, that he's dedicated to this thing.
I have a lot of respect for the guys.
Dies like a man.
I have a lot of respect for the guys that either go like that or go to jail without telling. There's a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
Gotti's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot. This guy, Victor Amusio, is the don of the Lucchese family. He went to jail for the rest of his life. Never told on anybody.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you this: what would you do? Let's say you're in a crew. Your crew thinks that your crew wants you dead for whatever the reason. You know they're going to kill you. Do you take the protection or do you let them kill you?
I would probably take off.
Yeah.
I'll go to Costa Rica or Jamaica.
And how would you live? Wouldn't they find you down there?
Nah.
The Italians on the beach? Come on.
They'll just think I'm a Puerto Rican. Every time I've been looked for, every time people suspected me, the
Despacito.
The description they always say is a skinny Puerto Rican kid.
Really?
When they're looking for me, the cops.
Mm.
They're like, be on the lookout for a skinny Hispanic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so around this time, Roy DeMeo gets very paranoid. He gets scared, and I guess Castellano just thought he was too much of a liability, right? He was selling drugs, which was bad. That was punishable by death in Castellano's
That's
family.
such bullshit. Castellano knew
Well, he was taking money, right, from drug dealers.
Yeah, I mean, Roy was bringing in like big fucking envelopes for the cocaine he was selling.
Mm-hmm.
Where did he think the money was coming from? Booze and whores? It was not 1920.
Right.
Where did he think the money was coming? He knew where it was coming from.
Right, but he didn't care.
No, he looked the other way.
Yeah.
The old man Carlo was big on it. Like he probably would have killed Roy if he knew about it. But Paul knew about it and he didn't do nothing.
So Carla didn't want people selling drugs?
No, he was big on that. But he was fucking 90 years old.
Mm-hmm. Right. Didn't adapt.
Yeah.
Didn't get with the times. Is there any mob around today?
Yeah.
Where are they? Howard Beach,
Staten Island, Dyker Heights, Florida.
Dyker Heights, beautiful neighborhood.
Chicago.
Yeah. So yeah, a couple days later, people saw Roy DeMeo on the street. He was very paranoid, and then they found him in the trunk of his Cadillac.
Yeah, his friends killed him.
Yep.
You know, it's funny.
They said Center probably killed him, right?
Joey and Anthony.
Joey and Anthony.
And it's funny. They pulled Joey over like he was passing by the scene of the crime,
mm-hmm.
and they said, "We want to show you something." And they opened up the trunk and showed him Roy, and he started crying.
Who?
Joey. He said
he had just done it.
He had just done it.
He had done it.
But he started crying like, "Oh my God, my friend!"
Yeah.
And they were like, "That's what a sociopath he was."
Wow.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I guess it just goes to show you can have a best friend. You do murders together, but that won't stop him from killing you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
It's always your friends.
It says here his son.
It's always the
your friends.
It says here that his son Albert wrote in his final days that his personal belongings, such as his watch, wallet, and ring, were left in his study room, as well as a Catholic pamphlet, meaning that he had gone to confession right before they killed him.
Yeah, so I didn't understand that. So they put it in his house?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. According to Wikipedia, at least.
Yeah.
That seems like a little creepy, to break in and give back some stuff. But I guess
he knew what was going on.
Mm-hmm. Well, then eventually indictments were handed down, and law enforcement was able to raid the Gemini Lounge. And one thing they said was that, like, when there's blood in the pipes and the walls, it never goes away.
Yeah.
There was like blood everywhere.
I heard when they rented it out, it's a black church now. When they rented it out, and the person who moved into the apartment turned on the water.
That's what the sign says up front. Black church. Hey, come on in. We are now a black church.
If there's not one in the country yet, there better be one soon.
You know what's fun? The platform where I run a comedy show used to be a black church.
Yeah.
Too obvious.
Mm. You're allowed in there?
Yeah, killing it.
Yeah, what were you saying about the new church in there, though, Frank?
They went to turn on the water and blood came out.
Oh, gross. That seems like a urban legend more than actually happening.
Well, that's what they say.
I don't know. There was a lot of blood.
Well, I mean, like...
That's where they drain their bodies in the bathtub.
The crew was already there, If they were already using the plumbing and stuff, why would...
Anthony Center used to drive around in a fucking Benz convertible, man. That shit was so fucking hot.
Yeah.
Oh.
And all he had to do was murder 100 people. So
if
there's any kids listening to this,
had the best...
hey, if you want to be somebody, grow a fucking pair of balls and kill 100 people for no reason.
He was such a handsome dude. He had
kill innocent people too.
He had a perfect pompadour, black hair, sunglasses, skinny, fucking always jacked up, fucking Benz.
Really?
The hottest chicks.
Let's Google image him. Actually, let's include some pictures of Anthony Center on our website.
Hey, it says here
he's getting out of jail in a couple of years.
Ralph Scupo, right? It said
really
here,
we should pick him up.
Yeah, we should have him. We should have him on the show.
Let's get him on the show. Okay. Hey, it says here Ralph Scupo.
Look at that. Look at Anthony Center in his perfect pompadour. Huh? That's a nice head of hair on that guy. What a beautiful head of hair.
I'm sure
I thought they were going to make a movie.
Love seeing that photo, Mike.
What's that?
I said I hope the listeners love seeing that photo.
They will see it. We'll put it on the website. My girlfriend's building us a website.
By the way, when is this fucking thing coming out?
I don't know. There's a lot of work that goes into editing a podcast.
We've been working on this podcast since...
You do nothing.
What are you talking about?
You just show up and run your fucking mouth and say racist shit
Isn't
that I have to edit out.
Isn't that what I'm here for?
The reason we edit the show is because of the dumb shit you say, you stupid fuck.
Yeah, I got to interject some energy because you're going to sleep on the couch.
Yeah, I know. All right. Anyway, folks, where were we? How about some final thoughts? Roy Demeo. What were Roy's redeeming qualities?
He was a great dad.
Mm-hmm.
He was a good businessman.
Mm-hmm.
He had a good sense of humor. He ran a good business for many, many, many years. And he was an enterprising young man.
And he was one of the few guys in the mob who could do everything.
He could do everything.
He could earn. He could kill.
Yeah.
And he was like a well-rounded individual.
He was
Who's a comedian you would compare him to? Maybe like
a well-rounded comedian?
Probably he's like a
Richard Pryor?
Jesus Christ.
Richard Pryor was well-rounded.
Yeah, or like a Louis C.K., he can write, he can perform, he can...
Yeah.
Richard Pryor was well-rounded, yeah.
Yeah, he could do act-outs, he could do... he was good at acting, he was a good joke writer, he was everything.
Yeah, so...
Is this fucking guy taking a phone call from his girlfriend during the middle of the fucking podcast?
Probably, yeah.
Holy shit.
This guy's
how is that possibly important? She fucking has him on a leash.
She's ferocious.
Oh my god!
Yeah. I need you to pick up.
What do you got to get? Eggs?
Yeah.
What do you got to get?
He's got to get cage-free eggs.
You got to get cage-free eggs, brown eggs.
No, I like a couple of times in a row. So.
Oh, okay.
You want to answer those guys?
There's this thing, man. It's called texting.
Yeah.
Well,
there's another thing. It's called dignity. Right,
what?
Frank? All right. Anyway, Matt, any final thoughts on Mr. Roy Demeo?
Yeah, what was I saying about his fucking brother? Yeah, they thought that he wasn't going to be able to stand up to legal charges. They thought he was
Roy?
Yeah, they thought he was going to fold.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he would have gone to jail?
No, never.
Yeah.
He would have just went down like a boss.
He would have died?
He would have. I mean, if they
He would have gone to jail. He would have taken his sentence. He wouldn't have ratted on
he
nobody.
wouldn't have ratted. He would have went away.
You know, being in the mob is kind of a lot like podcasting. You know, you have a crew of guys that you work with. Sometimes you butt heads. Sometimes you disagree. But the game is the game, and you just do it till you can't do it anymore.
That's right.
Folks,
These guys were celebrities to me, like in my neighborhood. Anthony and Joey, they were like the biggest thing in my neighborhood.
yeah. Now who do we have to look up to? Nobody.
I don't have anybody.
TJ Miller and
I don't know.
Kumail Nanjiani.
Who do I look up to? I used to look up to Sarah Silverman until she switched personas.
Yeah.
I thought that
Yeah, she's all
special was
liberal.
pretty fine.
That's because you're a girl.
Well,
Whoa. All right. Well, folks, I think that's a good place to end as any. Matt's a girl. I'm Mike Recine.
thanks,
What? And that's Frank Terranova. Folks, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.